Good evening, everybody. My name is Abdurrahman Muhammad. Today we are going to represent the radio. Today's presentation is represented by Nagam Al Sayed, me, Abdurrahman Muhammad, Mahmoud Ayman, Abdurrahman Hamdi, and Mahmoud Hani. The introduction will be represented by me, description of current situation by Mahmoud Hani, description of project plan by Mahmoud Ayman, review of quality by Abdurrahman Hamdi, costs and benefits by Mahmoud Hani, and conclusion by Nagam Al Sayed. Basically, the radios are two components: the radio waves and the device itself, which contains the transmitter and receiver of radio waves. The radio waves were firstly discovered by the German Heinrich Hertz in 1886, and the device itself is invented by the Italian Guglielmo Marconi in 1895, between 1895 and 1896. Basically, the radio waves are a range of frequencies between 30 Hz and 30 GHz. They are produced by a transmitter through an antenna and received by a receiver through an antenna also. Here we've got a video showing the basic operation of transmitting and receiving radio waves. We've got many applications on radio waves. We've got communications applications. Of course, the radio waves are used in the radio basically, and the mobile phones for transmitting and receiving the calls. Satellites use radio waves to transmit signals to Earth, and of course, radio waves are used in the sonar and the radar. In addition, radio waves are used in military. They are used basically to detect enemies within its range. Tanks use radio waves to receive signals by its allies and telling them where is the enemies exactly. Navy ships use radio waves as two aspects: sonar and radar. Radar to detect any enemy ships within its range, and sonar to detect any submarines beneath it. Submarines use also sonar and radio waves to detect any obstacles or enemy ships or enemy submarines in the water. And of course, aircrafts use radio waves as a radar to detect any enemy aircraft.
Hi everyone, hi Dr. Mana, my name is Mahmoud Hani, and I'm going to discuss with you the description of current situation. As you can see in the figure, radio is the leading reach platform. It is the most used device weekly in America, right? But how could the radio achieve this greatness? Radio have passed several stages before reaching this climax. As mentioned earlier, the first practical radio was done by Macaroni, and this is the equipment, the one you can see in this photo. And then another one named another Brazilian priest named Roberto Landel de Moura transmitted the human voice wirelessly, like you can see in this invention, de Moura's invention. According to a journal, he conducted his first public experiment in June 3, 1900, for approximately 8 kilometers. Then the next advancement was the vacuum tube detector, invented by Westinghouse engineers, and on Christmas Eve 1906, Fessenden used the synchronous rotary spark transmitter for the first radio broadcast. This is the radio that Fredson used, and at the sea, ships at the sea heard a broadcast that included Fredson playing "Oh Holy Night" on a violin and reading a passage from the Bible. After that, or after following the development of transistor technology, radio became kept radio became small. The first company, Regency, introduced a pocket transistor radio, TR1, powered by a standard 22.5 volt battery. Then the form began to grow smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Like you can see here, that's a Emerson radio, Emerson transistor radio, 1958. And then radios began to grow small until it reached its final stage, the one we know right now. And you cannot know for sure if there will be any upgrade for the radio. Thanks. After that, you will have a description of project plan with our friend Mahmoud Ayman, and then review of quality by our friend Abdurrahman Hamdi, and then I will come again in the cost and benefits part.
Hi, I am Mahmoud Ayman. I am going to discuss description of project plan part of the radio. Everyone will ask, why should I buy this device instead of the traditional one? To begin with, we can upgrade the radio to be more accessible by adding some installations, such as installing Bluetooth in the radio. That could cover about 10 meters as a range to be able to connect to mobile phones seamlessly. That will let the users play their own music. Moreover, installing a touch screen will add ease of use. Alternatively, the user could use a remote controller to utilize radio functions like changing radio stations, changing volume. Furthermore, adding internet connection software will be an advantage which lets the users install application as adding SIM card that lets the users call people, which makes the radio act as a mobile phone. Uh, we also add USB sockets that let the radio act as a power bank to charge other devices or connect with flash memories to the radio. On the other hand, these new features will have some negative effects. For example, infrared radiation causes skin damage by time due to using the radio in our daily routine. Moreover, for long usage of the radio may lead to health issues, as users are forced to pay higher electricity bills due to charging a long-life built-in battery. In addition, it will be more expensive to buy. But as I said, for more benefits, you have to pay more.
Good morning everyone. My name is Abdulrahman Hamdi. I'm gonna talk about review of quality. And at first I'm gonna talk about what was the first use of radio and how it evolved. Radios was first used to send telegraphs between people and then used to send voice messages. In 1890, they invented the long-distance communication radio. And this was the start of the evolution. They started using the radio to share the news instead of the newspaper and called it the radio news. However, in 1906, they started a public radio to broadcast at Christmas Eve. After a while, the World War II started, and the radios played an important role in which the soldiers could send voice records about the events that happened, and the citizens could know if there is any update about the news and what was happening. After the World War II was finished, they used it in education and started educational broadcasts between 1960 and 1970. The Golden Age of Radio. The Golden Age of Radio started between 1930 and mid-1950. Most people suffered a Great Depression at that time because of the people and things they lost during the war. But the radios at this time was free and inexpensive source of entertainment. This is when the radio gained a lot of listeners and lovers, and it was so called the Golden Age of Radio. The last point I'm going to talk about is what makes the radio superior to its alternatives. The radios then kept evolving until nowadays, in which its frequencies can reach almost everyone. Also, the radios are more memorable because sound is easier to be stored in people's memory. It is more efficient at saving time, where the ordinary newspaper must be printed and published first. It's more portable than TV and allows the listeners to listen while they move. More safer than other devices. And it is also called the theater of mind because it let the listener use their full imagination. Hello again, my name is Mahmoudani. This month we're going to talk about the costs and benefits of radio. Before we talked about the history and the quality of radios, but there's another nature that defines the radio. This major is cost. These costs changed a lot across the years. At first, only the wealthy upper class could obtain a radio. However, nowadays everyone could have one. Radio became common in every place, such as cars, stations, public transportation, airplanes, and even in the reef. At first, in 1929, radio's cost was like 85. 1928 is $85 and became 500 by the summer 1929. And in 1954, the cost went down to be 49.95 plus 1.15 for the battery, which is the transistor radio we talked about. In 1987, the radio's cost increased again to be $79.95, and nowadays the portable digital radios range in cost from about $100 to $150, and the desktop digital radios range from $250 to $1,000. But nowadays, not everyone buys a radio because radios became often common in every place, became widespread. So people stopped buying the digital radios or the desktop digital radios, and they became ideas and insist radios through their cars, maybe. But radios have many benefits. Its price was appropriate for its performance. Radio is much more portable medium than television and allows the listener to carry out listening while they move. The listeners can use their own imagination to conjure up what the character in radio play look like. They can imagine the romantic hero in a way that they prefer to be frightened by a
1992, when the Titanic disaster happened, radio was one of the main reasons to help save 700 people. And that's all for this part. Thanks for listening to me, and thanks for your time. And now I will leave you with the conclusion.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nagam Said, and I'm going to talk about the conclusion. Now, we all know that radio is important in our daily life. Also, it makes our life better and comfortable. Now, we are able to hold up by saying that there is a great importance of learning and training arrangement by Community Radio Association in conveying the social gain, which is the key to the definition of community radio within the UK. From our review of the youth learning opportunities currently provided by the community radio sector, we concluded that community radio stations require support for the sector to deliver more effective training to young people. The community radio sector needs advice and support in relation to funding and partnership working for training. Also, community radio organizations need support to be able to communicate more effectively about what they do in relation to youth radio training. In spite of the fact that competition from unused innovations is developing, conventional radio within the frame of AM and FM broadcasting remains in a really solid financial condition. Besides, radio gatherings of people remained stable all through the 1990s, which in return helped to extend radio promoting incomes. Union has made a difference to form radio a more competitive medium for promoting dollars outpacing both TV and daily papers. The reference list. Thank you for listening. Any questions?